well?
That's nearly impossible to answer. The story, as Tutu was saying, about heading off to school without his parents' knowledge and making his way through the grasslands and that, and then when they did discover where he was heading off to at the age of 8, when you think of kids trying to get kids to go to school, even myself many years ago,
it was quite the opposite here, isn't it? Yeah,
it was a bit of a struggle to go to school.
Yeah,
and when an 8-year-old decides to take off himself through the grasslands to head off to school, it's quite inspiring. The fact that, as he said, building his house, having to rebuild it, then move on and start again. Lesser people would kind of go, that's it, I can't keep on doing this, but they moved on. Both Tutu and his wife and his children as well, like having to restart again. And they ended up with very successful, I've seen pictures where they had their cassava, their rice, they had their goats and their chickens and that. And they not only were boosting their rations to have good food, they were actually selling on. So they had actually a little business going, And when you see refugee camps and you see people starving and living in tents and things like that, you don't read. That's all you ever see on the news. Whereas when you read Tutu's story and other stories, where they actually have markets and they go out and they work extremely hard, and just to make ends meet, it's very inspiring. Very, very inspiring.
And for people who come across the book and who read it, this question's for both of you. What would you like people to think or remember or take from the book when they've read it?
Well, one thing, and I think we're all guilty of, going by stereotypes and that. One thing is the idea that refugees from all over the world now, they're coming from Syria and Iraq and places like that, is that people have the idea that they're coming over here for an easy life, sit on the dole, get a free house, get free whatever, and they don't want to work, that they're lazy. And if you read the book, both in Tutu's story and as I said before, they work, and they work really hard. There's one part in it where when Tutu, the second refugee camp, they weren't actually supposed to leave the camp to do farming, and they were only at a little plot of land which was no good to them. So they went off of their own bat. They rented land in the forest and cleared it and started farming. But the authorities found out and kind of were clamping down. So what they had to do was sneak out in the middle of the night and farm by moonlight, and then sneak back in the morning. Now, I don't know many people around here who would, including myself, who would be sneaking out in the middle of the night to do a bit of farming. That's determination, yeah. That's determination, and that's serious hard work. And I know Tutu, it is a struggle to get work. It's a struggle for lots of people to get work, but especially when your English isn't as great. And Tutu's English is fine, but there's other who are struggling with their English, and it is hard to get work. But if they can get work, they'll do it. And they're not. The whole idea about lazy, and I'm sure it's the same for people from Syria, Iraq and other places in the world, that they're not just here to have a good time.
They're here because they have to be.
And I was actually talking to an uncle one day about it, and I was saying, could you imagine heading off to the Congo from Ireland? Mm-hmm. If there was a war here and you were in fear of your life and you had to get on, like some of the refugees from Syria and that, you had to get on a boat and maybe a dinghy or something and make your whole way to the Congo, and you'd be going from our cold weather to 40 degrees, different language, different system. How you wouldn't do that just for the crack.
Yeah, nobody chooses to do it. No one is.
The idea, like, I know we Irish people go off to the US and to Australia and that, but most people have a safety net to come back to, when they can hop on a plane. But this is life changing. They're coming from one world to another world, and they don't just do it lightly, and it's very inspiring, I have to say.
Great. And what would you like people to think, Tutu, when they read the book? What would you like them to take with them, take to heart?
If the people, what do people think?
Yeah. What do you want people to remember from reading the book?
I think that people can remember can you remember our life? How when they read the book, that the people can you remember something about their life, about the refugee life. I know that here also there was sometimes there was a war here in Ireland, and the people fled the country. They know about war. They know. The thing in the book is not new, I think. Many people know about this. The people who fled the country, they know that the refugee life is every time is difficult. I think here in Ireland, we don't have a choice for anything here, because the situation we lived is not comparable with another act. I can think that everything here can be good for us. Maybe only if there can be some people like racism to get racism for us, but out racism or out other thing, I think is here life we can see that life is good. All things can be good.